Okay, John, you have your hand up?
Yes, Chair. It was to put in an apology for Councillor Loudon. She's been unable to make the meeting this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Could I come to item 1, which are declarations of interest? Are there any declarations of interest? There are none. So could I come to item 2, which are the minutes of the previous meeting? Are there any questions on the minutes? If not, I'll come to Councillor Robb.
Thank you. Happy with the minutes, but just to request if there's been any update on my request for a transformational review of the ground service from 2 meetings ago. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Robb. I know that we've exchanged some emails on this. What we are doing to take this forward is initially having a discussion with elected members tomorrow around grounds. As you know, there's been a lot of work done around grounds, including some savings proposals that have been either taken forward or rejected. But there have been a lot of points of clarification and questions raised on the ground service over the last year or so. So in order to take forward any work around grounds, we have assessed the best thing to do is to have that session with members to understand how that service runs, have the service themselves come and present to members around a kind of full position around how ground services works. What that will allow us to do is then form any further work to go forward. So I see the session as being the first stage in taking forward any further work on grounds.
Thank you.
Okay. So maybe just, I think there's been, from my own part as well, just some confusion in that, because I know that within the service they've conducted their own reviews, and we obviously have a programme of transformational reviews. So I think from even my own point of view, I think I've had my wires crossed at points there, but we know it's an area that we need to review, and there's a political willingness to do it. So could I come to John Ross?
Yes, thanks, Joe. On the back of what Kirsten was saying there, I've been party to those emails as well. Unfortunately, I must admit, if people are not sure, or if councillors are not sure just exactly how the system works just now, and we're only going to be talking to a small number of councillors, I would have much preferred this to have came as an awareness session for all councillors, so that we're all aware just exactly how things are working on the ground and how they're going about their business, rather than it be confined to maybe 5 or 6 people in the cross-party working group. That's my thoughts on the matter. Thanks very much.
Right, and there's nothing to prevent such a session taking place at a future date. I think the point there was this was an area for those parties that participated in the cross-party working group. It was certainly an area that we felt would have benefited from further briefing and discussion, and that's happening, and that's happening in parallel with a number of other processes. And I think, for me, the point I would emphasise is that where we are making, and I would share an honest thought here, I think when we're making savings within the ground service, I think what we're also detecting is that there are areas where people would like to redeploy resources. So there's a kind of challenging conversation to be had around what you do with limited resources. So I don't think it's something we're going to resolve right now under the minutes of the previous meeting. It's the reason why the review work is sort of beneficial. That's the origin of this meeting. The invitation has been extended to all the political groups, not just those that participated to the completion in the cross-party working group. I think that's quite a fair and open way of dealing with it, and if there are to be further sessions, there can be further sessions, but it's a live area of consideration for the council, because it's a live area of discussion in the community. Okay.
Can I come back in on that? I don't mind that. I think it's good that you did extend the invitation to everybody, whether they were part of the working group or not. But some of the reason for this is that not everybody is aware of just exactly how the ground works. And quite honestly, I think I would like to see a follow-up of an awareness session, because I say all 64 councillors in this council, regardless of whether in any leadership roles, do have an interest in how it works in their area, and it would be beneficial to everybody, including the administration, if everybody was up to speed in just exactly how we go about things. And at the end of the day, you might find you've got more agreement between us all than if we're sitting in the dark not knowing. And I'm not talking about just a few, I'm talking about the majority of councillors. Thanks very much, Joe.
And I think to come back, we can certainly take that under advisement, and maybe as this develops, come back with in a way on this session. There's nothing happening immediately that precludes that. And actually, I agree with you. I think there is some merit in being able to explain to, you know, our own people, demystify some of the services that the council provides and the interplay between grounds and waste and street scene operatives, etc. Okay. If there are no other points, can we agree the minutes is a correct record? We agreed? See, but I don't see any dissents. We're agreed. Thank you. Can I come now to item 3, which is a report on the Accounts Commission's new approach to audit of best value, and this one cites Highland and Argyll and Bute councils. Tom Little is going to speak to this report. Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. So this is the latest in a series of reports of this nature that we've brought to you, where we provide a summary of the best value reports that have been carried out at other councils by the Controller of Audit on behalf of the Accounts Commission. Now, the aim is to highlight any key lessons and identify any trends that you may find interesting in terms of the... Let's see, I'm just going to turn myself off and back on again. See if might help. So, as I say, I think it's someone else's mobile. It's a chance to bring before you any key messages that other councils are getting from their best value audits, so that we can see how they sit in the context of our own performance. So, in this case, it's the recent audits published for Highland Council and Argyll and Bute Council. Both, I would say, are broadly positive. Both councils have been applauded for progress made since their respective last audits. I won't go into full details. Members can pick up any points they wish, but I would note that there are some points to be made in both these reports, which we've seen in others too, most obviously around things like the projected budget gaps that most councils are facing going forward. And I'll leave it at that and ask you to note the messages and recommendations within the report.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask if there are any questions on that? John Anderson.
Thanks, Chair. Page 10, bullet point 4. It says that it is noted with concern the council's borrowing costs in the Highlands, which is high at 11.6% compared to Scottish average of 5.8%. Can I ask what our borrowing costs are? Given that this council borrowed £7 million at a total payback cost of £19 million, if you look at the cost of the PFI bill, costing this council over £40 million this year alone, which is probably more than a third of the money raised in the council tax. Will they consider any of these two to be prudent borrowing? Thanks.
Jackie, could I come to you to respond to that, please?
Yeah, thank you. The percentages quoted there are indicators that all councils submit every year. The council's indicator for this year, South Lanarkshire Councils, is 3.7%. So that is below the Scottish average, which is included in the paper of 5.8%. All of the borrowing that we take is prudent. That's why we call it prudential borrowing, and is covered with budgets that the council holds.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Jackie, once and for all. Could I come to Kirsten Robb?
Thank you. On page 10, again, it talks about area place plans. Is this something that South Lanarkshire are looking at as part of the local development plan process? And a second question, different topic, on page 11, it talks about asking Argyll and Bute to monitor the impact of hybrid and flexible working. Are we monitoring the impact of our hybrid and flexible working? I know that Argyll and Bute want to roll it out more because they realise the benefits for health and well-being. I just wanted to see how we are monitoring that for our staff. Thanks.
Okay. Tom, do you want to pick that up?
I think something definitely wrong with my mic. In terms of the place plans, I think there's different terminology used by different councils. I would equate those to the community planning partnerships that we have at locality level, which I would think would pretty much accomplish the same thing.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that the issues we're having are maybe down to a faulty unit rather than the proximity of a mobile phone. But Jackie?
Yeah, just in relation to your second question, absolutely, in terms of our hybrid and flexible working, that's something that we do monitor and we have been monitoring. There will be a paper coming to committee around guidance, in particular around hybrid working, just to put in place the guidelines around that. But it is something obviously that we have adopted since COVID, so it's obviously something that's very much in our sights and making sure that it's working for everybody.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? No. Then can I bring us back to the recommendations? Just ask us to note the report. We agreed?
Yep.
I'll come now to item 4, which is an update on our transformational reviews. Jackie.
Thank you. So this is our usual report that we bring to this forum on our transformational reviews, both cross-cutting and resource-specific. There are fuller papers in the pack from agenda item 5, which pick up some of these in more detail. But just in terms of this report, we have at section 4 our update on our cross-cutting transformational reviews. Firstly, procurement at section 4.2. You will be aware that we had agreed savings of just under £950,000 into our 25-26 budget from procurement. And also at this forum, last time round at the start of April, we'd highlighted some new opportunities that we were taking forward, and that was around purchase cards, homelessness, cleaning and clearances as well. Over at section 4.4, we are picking up on new opportunities that have been identified since that last report. That includes supplies of boilers and also food purchases that we're looking at. Section 4.5 picks up on the review on in-house and procured services. Again, in terms of reference, had been considered by the forum back in April. Works continuing again around high-level costing information around areas where we are able to look at what we provide in-house and also what we procure. It's intended that findings will be collated over the summer and will present back to the forum in August on this review. At section 4.8, we're picking up those separate reports that I mentioned a second ago, so they will cover fleet, digital transformation and customer engagement, and we'll hear from officers on those shortly. 4.9 picks up on a kind of summary of 3 other reviews that we're undertaking, so that's around structures, overtime and depot rationalisation. Again, we're expecting a fuller report back to this forum in August. Section 5 picks up the resource-specific reviews. Third sector's picked up at section 5.2. Again, in April, we saw the terms of reference for that review. In terms of update, we can see that workshops and events have been taking place and continue over the summer. We will be bringing back a report to the Executive Committee on the 24th of September around this review. And factoring, which we've covered before in some detail, that's continuing as well. This is about the factoring service that provides former owners of council housing stock with a factoring service. The status of that is that we're currently collating findings from the work on that review. And again, in August, we'll have further information on that particular review for the forum. At section 5.7, we're picking up the long-term estate strategy. There's a reminder at the bottom of page 15 around the focus for the review. We are bringing back to the Executive Committee in June a further update, and I've linked at section 5.9 the earlier update that went to the Executive Committee on the 12th of March. Similar position for South Lanarkshire Leisure and Culture Commissioning Plan. 12th of March, Executive Committee saw a progress update, and a further paper will be brought to the Executive Committee next week. At 5.12, we have a new terms of reference for planning and regulatory review. This will look at the delivery of services which stakeholders engage with the planning and regulatory service within the council. Options will be looking at further emphasis on self-service and online delivery of information, and also development of income-generating opportunities for the service. Attached to Appendix 1 is a terms of reference for this review. And again, just around our resource-specific reviews, a further paper within this agenda pack will pick up property services, efficiencies and income generation. So just taking you back to section 2 and the recommendations, we're asking that the update is noted. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I ask if there are any questions on this paper? Could you please indicate now? I'm not seeing any questions, so can I thank Jackie for that update? And can we agree to note the recommendations? Agreed. I'll come now to item 5, which is on property services, efficiencies and income generation. And Sharon Egan is going to speak to this paper. Sharon.
Thank you. So the purpose of the report this afternoon is to provide an update in relation to the current position in identifying areas for efficiencies and income opportunities across our assets and estates, our consultancy services and building services. So at section 4, the terms and reference proposals, which are detailed further in Appendix 1, they set the objectives of the review and includes an update on the progress made. So they're summarised there at 4.1. So the focus will be on the staff and structure, which is a review of the management structure, particularly within building services, along with a wider assessment of our professional posts across assets and estates and consultancy services. Other key areas included within the terms of reference will relate to running costs, which will continue to review procurement activities and the use of subcontractors. There will be performance, which will continue to assess the performance of work streams. Fleet assessment, working alongside our fleet services to establishing the correct size and requirements that are needed for the service. Depot locations and renewable technology. So as I noted, each of those items are detailed further in Appendix 1. And I'll take you back to the recommendations, and that's to note the content of the report, including the terms of reference in Appendix 1, and that a further update will be presented to this forum in August. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Can I ask if there are any questions on that paper? Could you please indicate now? And could I come to Kirsten Robb?
Thank you. Looking forward to hearing more on this one, Sharon. Just flagging up on page 22, what sort of activities do you know yet that are delivered externally that could be brought in-house related to the renewables? And on page 24, we talk about the scope for more income generation through renewables. Have we measured the scope? Do we know how much income we could bring in, say, if we invested more in renewables? And will that information be available? Thank you.
Okay. Sharon?
Thanks, Councillor Robb, for your question. At the minute, I'm not able to give you full detail on that, so I will come back to you. I'll make sure you have an update. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, if there are any other questions? No. Well, thank you. And I will say I think Councillor Robb zeroed in on quite an interesting and exciting aspect of that review in terms of what it could, the skills that we can build within the council. So can I come back to the recommendations, both 1 and 2, and can we agree to note the report?
Agreed.
Agreed. Thank you. Can I come now to item 6, which is on fleet management, and can I ask Colin Park to speak to this report? Colin.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, everyone. The purpose of this report is to provide the forum with information in relation to fleet management, operations and associated reviews being progressed across the Council. Members will know it's a very full report, so I'll intend to pull out the key headlines. Section 3 sets out the background to fleet management across the Council, and it notes that paragraph 3.1, key aspect of Council operations, and it underpins the delivery of essential services from passenger services, school transport, waste collection to social care and winter maintenance as well. Paragraph 3.3 sets out the key outcomes of the current fleet strategy, and just to advise members, an update on that strategy is being developed this financial year. Section 4 sets out some more detail in relation to vehicle numbers and an age trend, and Appendix 2 provides a kind of deeper dive into that by resource and individual vehicle type. As you'll know, real progress has been made in returning the Council fleet numbers to pre-COVID levels, despite growing demand and legislative pressures across various resources and services. Pre-COVID, we had 1,403 vehicles, and this rose to 1,632 during the pandemic due to heightened social distancing and service pressures. And it has returned to kind of pre-COVID levels, although, as you'll note from individual charts and appendices, variations across different resources and services. Appendix 3 provides further detail on the fleet age profile across the Council and each resource. And members should note that replacing aged and unreliable vehicles should reduce maintenance costs and will also offer further opportunities to procure new ultra-low emission vehicles for the vehicles that we have proven technology for. Section 5 touches upon the vehicle replacement programme. Again, sorry for referencing COVID once more, but during COVID, the kind of vehicle replacement programme stalled somewhat, both due to kind of council service pressures and also just kind of supply chain and manufacturer delays. We now have some stability, and we're now moving forward with a much more focused replacement programme. Our lease periods tend to be between 4 and 5 years, depending upon the vehicle type. And that replacement cycle is very much industry practice, and it's what our optimum should be, noting that only routine maintenance should be required during that time. However, some vehicles, depending upon their type and their kind of nature, they can operate for a longer period, up to around 8 years. So we are looking, whilst we are looking to maintain industry practice, we are exploring, in particular for our passenger services and our buses, what an extension to 7 years might look like in terms of more cost-effective lease costs. Section 6 provides a narrative on predicted demands. Myself and Stephen Hardman, to my right, sat down with service heads and directors, and we did just kind of deep dive again into what demands each service has, what's coming over the horizon for the next 3 to 5 years. And overall, there's obviously a lot of detail in there for you to look at, and again, obviously ask questions later, but unless there are genuine changes to operating models or reduction to services, the need for vehicles is likely to remain pretty stable or increase over the next 3 to 5 years. So this needs a kind of focused effort on us expediting and streamlining the vehicle replacement programme and targeting those vehicles that are over 5 years old. Just moving to conclusions, real progress has been made, as I noted earlier on, in terms of returning fleet numbers back to pre-COVID levels. It's stabilised now, and resources and services are continuing to consider some of the fleet principles set out in this paper as part of their individual service reviews that are brought to this forum. And are discussed later today, noting Sharon mentioned one earlier on. There are no employee implications at this stage, and in terms of financial implications, as I said earlier on, through their own service reviews, services have been asked to come to an early view on any new savings that are coming forward. We need time. We can't just decide to change a vehicle. We need to have time to kind of lead into either get new leases or to end leases and get out of any contract or casual hire arrangements. And we intend to bring those fleet savings forward as part of future papers to this forum and any other budget kind of strategy forum as well. Finally, section 10, climate change. As members will note from Climate Change Committee, etc., transport is the largest contributor to climate emissions in Scotland, and for us, the fleet vehicles required to deliver our council services account for just under 7,000 tonnes of carbon, which is 14.4% of the council's carbon footprint. We have reduced that by 33% since 2005, and work is continuing to do so. That section also sets out some of the kind of key interventions that we brought forward over the last 3-4 years. As reported to the Climate Change Committee, fleet is key elements of the council's net zero route map, and this focus will help the council achieve its legal duties with regards to climate change. There are no other implications as noted, and there's no need for an impact assessment. So just turning back to the recommendations, the Performance and Review Scrutiny Forum is asked to approve the following: that the update in relation to council vehicles estate as detailed at section 4 be noted, the progress with the vehicle replacement programme at section 5 be noted, resource demands for fleet as detailed in section 6 be noted, and importantly, the work is continuing to try and explore any other fleet implications and savings as part of other reviews that are ongoing. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Colin. Can I ask if there are any questions in that report? Can I come to John Ross?
Yes, thanks, Joe. It's not so much a question, it's more, first of all, I'd like to thank Colin for his report, and also the previous officers for their reports as well. Obviously, when we look at most of these transformational changes at this present time, we're getting an update with a view to having a completion or a further update later in the season. I presume that at some point we need to draw conclusions for these for looking at next year's budget. So is that the intention that we'll, by a certain time in this calendar year, we will have concluded these transformational reviews, and the information that we have at that time will be using to take us forward? Thanks, Joe. I mean, I can probably deal with that, or maybe defer to Jackie, but I think that, yes, but the outcome of the review and the will obviously depend on the timing of it. So
Not all these reviews will be completed in time for this coming year's budget, but as and when the reviews report, they are likely to produce recommendations, some that will require decisions from councillors, some which will be part of the budget process, others that might find their way in front of committees in different ways. But I think the key thing is we are able to demonstrate to ourselves, to the public, to the council taxpayers and to Audit Scotland that there is a process that sits behind those decisions and that it's a robust one.
Thanks.
Okay. Yep. Can I come to John Anderson? John?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. It's 5.4. We're looking at maybe extended to 7 years some of the vehicles, passenger services. Given that a battery is expected to last something between 10 and 20 years, we'll be looking at extending this to the smaller cars, extending it, or are we going to stick that to 4 or 5 years?
Thank you, Chair. I think, Councillor Anderson, we're looking at all options. We actually had a discussion earlier on today about some of our extension to our smaller Renault Zoe vehicles. We've had them about 4 or 5 years already, and we're looking to extend them because they're fine. They're working okay. And you'll maybe remember, I think there was a question at one of these forums previously that Jackie answered, that one of the benefits of electric vehicles is lower, longer term maintenance. So again, a lot of this technology is still to be proven, but we are learning from it. And to be honest, we probably haven't, the idea of extending our lease periods for some of our kind of medium to heavy fleets, not something we've looked at before. But there's a real opportunity there. We're actually looking at that for our passenger services, where 5 years was what we'd always done, but we're just looking at kind of pushing it a wee bit further now, because some of our vehicles are older than 7 years already and they're still running. We do have higher maintenance costs associated with that though, so it's just trying to balance up higher maintenance costs, lower lease costs. So I don't know if that answered your question. Hopefully I've talked long enough that you forgot what it was. But I think it's very much work in progress, and certainly with the EV vehicles, my own view and Stephen's view as well is, I think it's only really proven for the kind of small light vehicle just now. There is emerging technology for medium to heavy, but the charging solutions for them are very much unproven. And just given the kind of scale of South Lanarkshire as well, maybe in the cities the kind of electric vehicles work, but just given the kind of varied nature of what we have in South Lanarkshire, it's less so. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Colin, I suppose it's a question that follows on from what John Anderson's raised there. I'm just interested in the interplay between our emerging thinking around the assets and the kind of workforce implications when it comes to maintenance, because we've known for a while there's real pressure when it comes to recruiting mechanics. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering what's the sort of latest position within the service when it comes to sort of mechanics and being able to do this in-house, and how's that likely to change? I appreciate for a lot of these vehicles, if they've got lower ongoing maintenance costs, and that's easing a burden. But is there a shift maybe in the burden of maintenance back to, I don't know, whatever deals we come to in which we procure the vehicles? Or how are we thinking about our own workforce and our in-house workforce and how that might change?
Yeah, I've got it there. I'll maybe bring in Stephen if need be, if I don't answer this correctly, and then he kicks me under the table. In terms of technology, we are obviously vehicles are changing. Many years ago, I'd go in and change a set of brake pads myself in my own car, but now you open up a bonnet and it's just a kind of sheet of aluminium. We are training up our mechanics to be able to do maintenance of electric vehicles. I think we're putting them through kind of various kind of training courses there. There'll always be some specialist vehicles that we do need to send back, maybe for warranty to the suppliers. At this moment in time, the leases that we're taking through are for leases only. We are doing our own maintenance. We return vehicles to kind of local dealers for warranty, but I think the whole workforce is beginning to adapt. We also put through a good batch of our mechanics through an advanced mechanic course over the last couple of years. More attractive financially for them, but puts them in a better position to do more diagnostic testing as well. A lot of times we would be putting vehicles out to other garages to get diagnostics done because we didn't have the skilled workforce, but we're doing that as well now. Does that answer your question, Councillor Fagan?
Yeah, and maybe just in terms of what's the recruitment market like, or do we have a need to recruit just now, or is it stable?
We do, yeah. Yeah, we're currently running 5 short. We're actually talking to Jackie's team about doing an open day. We did that about 2 years ago. I think one of the first year I took over Fleet. So basically an open day on a Saturday, inviting people in. We actually managed to get a few mechanics from local garages to come and join us there as well. So it was actually a really good day just to see what's on offer.
Okay.
Thanks, Chair.
Good. Okay. I don't see any other questions, so can I come back to the recommendations and can we agree to note the report? Agreed. Agreed. I'll come now to item 7, which is on digital transformation. It's an update report and it'll be presented by Murray Husband. Murray.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. So the purpose of this report is to provide the Forum with an update on the Digital Transformation Review. Section 3 of the report provides some background to the review and confirms that the transformation covers a broad spectrum of activity which requires a coordinated response to ensure we deploy the resources across the organisation appropriately. The terms of reference for the review was previously reported on the 1st of April here and is provided in Appendix 1 for reference. A key thing to point out, there's kind of 3 key pillars to digital transformation covered in the terms of reference, being business systems and processes, workforce productivity and customer engagement. And probably, to be clear, the key focus is on the first 2 of those. Customer engagement has been carved off into a separate review, which Craig will provide an update on following this. Section 4 calls out some key progress in the review around the new action plan that's in place. Some key ones to call out would be looking at the enhancement to the current website. This is both around the underlying technology, the look and feel and design, and also the content of the website. So that project within the programme is now underway and being developed. Next up, there's a couple of accelerators we're putting in place. One is around Microsoft Copilot. So this is the kind of assistive AI that Microsoft provide us through our licensing. And we're looking at a rapid or more rapid approach to that to allow small cohorts of staff across the organisation to get access to the tool and undertake certain scenarios or use cases and allow that kind of feedback to kind of assess the benefits of the tool. There's also an option with one of our key suppliers around another more general AI accelerator where it's a safe and secure private location for us, for example, to test use cases and try and drive additional data insights without going out to the kind of more public AI providers. Section 4.2 gives an update in terms of the governance for the programme, which is now in place, and the review board is now starting to sit, and it's sitting actually tomorrow, the first one. 4.5 talks about skills, so work is underway and almost complete around analysis of the skills gap we have to support transformation. So this is looking at skills around service designers, user research, business analysis and other key skills that the organisation may or may not have either at all or in sufficient capacity to support the programme. 4.7 talks about the vision, so underpinning the work is a digital strategy which is currently in place. It runs through to 2027, but we've already commenced work to review that in the shorter term, as that will help drive a lot of the work within the programme. Section 4.8 talks about data quality. The organisation, as with most councils, is data rich and information poor, and we're looking to drive a programme to increase the maturity and quality of the data within the organisation. As part of that, we've been accepted onto the Scottish Government data maturity cohort 6, which commences in late summer. The output of that will be an actionable set of tasks to allow us to improve our position on quality data and develop a data strategy. Section 5 talks about the next steps within the programme. Obviously, the key part of that in 5.2 is looking at identifying benefits that the programme will deliver. So that work is underway and will be reported back here in August. 5.3 reiterates the fact that a key focus is on the data work stream. So a working group will be, a cross-resource working group will be in place over the summer to help drive that forward and be ready to take the outcomes of the Scottish Government programme in due course. And 5.4 it confirms that we'll bring back another update, which will be quarterly in August. No other implications to raise with the forum, and I can refer you back to section 2 in terms of recommendations, which is to that the progress of the review including the key highlights detailed in section 4 be noted, and that the next steps detailed in section 5 also be noted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask if there are any questions in that report? Not seen any questions, so I'll just say it's quite encouraging to hear about that development in terms of the data maturity programme. Can I bring us back to the recommendations and can we agree to note the report?
Agreed.
We're agreed. I'll come now to item 8, which is on the customer engagement transformational review. And this is an update from Craig Ferguson. Craig.
Thank you, Chair. The report provides a full update on the customer engagement transformational review. Section 3 provides some background. The terms of reference provided to the forum 19th of November last year. That provided the forum with issues across customer services, the expected outcomes from the review and also the scope. Broadly, the review itself focuses on the contact methods, technologies, back office processes and also the structures used to support customer engagement with services. This report provides an overview of the work of the review group so far, including output from the SWOT analysis, the risk register and other key activities. Section 4 provides the update, beginning with the SWOT analysis. You can see there's a summary there in a table below 4.1, providing the kind of key points from that. Strengths including the experience and knowledge of the review group, supported by service-based teams. One kind of key weakness was around lacking confidence with digital skills, which is a reflection of the speed at which this area is developing. In terms of opportunities, the review provides one to essentially introduce new digital solutions to customers and also an upskilling of staff in the use of those new digital technologies themselves. 4.3 outlines the key risks that came from the exercise around the preparation of the risk register for the review. And then go on to 4.5, one of the first activities undertaken in terms of the substance of the review focuses on the process review and workshops. So the first round of process mapping workshops have been delivered, one for each resource. These have been very well attended and positively received. In each workshop identified potential areas for improvement, and some of the other trends we're seeing across some of the processes that have came under the review process so far. Overall, the initial assessment, the opportunity here to deliver improvements through process improvement, better handling of data and also through automation. 4.10 refers to the work around customer surveys. Our intention is to conduct 2 customer surveys to obtain feedback on engagement with the Council. One will follow a call to the services, with the other following the completion of an online application form. These surveys will go live during the course of this month, with information then used to inform future direction for service delivery. 4.13, we cover the review of the capabilities and limitations of customer-facing ITC systems, including CRM and also the website. IT is providing some valuable support in this area and are currently finalising the systems catalogue, and that would then form the basis for this exercise. The initial evaluation also been completed on the core customer-facing systems prior to engagement then taking place with the system owners. Murray mentioned his previous report, the review of the website, and this was a link into this individual review also. The review very much recognised the importance of the Council's website content as a means of providing customer access to services and also information. And there's very much strong links between the content, look and feel of the website and also the technology supporting it. So a wider review of the website, as Murray referenced, therefore bring these elements together to improving the overall customer experience and engagement. And there's this separate review group convened by Murray to take that forward with representation obviously from customer services and also the digital team. 4.16 refer to a review of the positioning of customer service across the organisation. So this looks at that structure we've got in place currently across the Council to deliver customer services. And there's discussions taking place across a number of different service areas where significant customer contact takes place. This activity then feed in to develop an overall customer engagement strategy for the Council, consider one of the key outputs from the review itself. So in terms of next steps, the working group continued to review progress on the action plan, and a further update expected to come to this forum on the 19th of August. Refer the forum back to the recommendations and the content of the report is noted. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask if there are any questions in this report? I've not seen any questions, so can I ask us to note the recommendations?
Agreed.
We're agreed. There are no items of urgent business, so I'll bring the meeting to a close. Thank you.